Hey everybody, don't derail your sale. It's a new market now. We're post-COVID. Things are a lot more complicated. We're seeing more and more that people are derailing their sales, whether they're selling or they're buying. So stay with me as I give you some tips to cross that finish line. So first I'm going to start with our buyers out there. Before you start shopping, contact a local mortgage company if you need financing. Get that pre-approval letter, have a conversation about closing cost. Do you need closing cost or do you simply want closing cost? Talk about interest rates. There are rates that are hovering in certain percentages every week, and sometimes you can also buy those rates down. So make sure that you know what your budget is and how much money you have available before you ever make an offer. You don't want to find out a few days before closing that there's a cash shortage and you don't have the funds to be able to purchase. In our market, your financing contingency drops 5 days before closing. So if you call that other agent or the attorney a day or two before closing and say you can't get your loan, you might as well say goodbye to that earnest money. Secondly, make sure that you stop your spending. I always say freeze everything that you do between the time that you go under contract and you go to closing. Don't buy a car, don't go buy your furniture or your appliances, and please do not change jobs. Any major difference in your spending or your income can absolutely derail your purchase. Third, as a buyer, make sure that you have money set aside to inspect your home and also seriously consider doing a survey. If there is an issue with the property, such as an encroachment or an easement, it could also derail your purchase. So make sure that you have a good solid knowledge of condition and also the particulars of the property, including if it's in a flood zone. Now, if you're a seller, these are ways that you can prevent your sale from stopping between contract and closing. First of all, I would go ahead and pre-inspect your home. Have a home inspector come out, a termite company, a heating and air company, because at that point you know the condition of your home. The majority of the sales that fall apart due to condition are falling apart because homeowners have no idea that there are issues with their houses. How wonderful would it be if you knew that there was a problem before you ever had a buyer on the hook? One of the advantages of knowing that in advance is you can have more control over the repair, who does the work, and how it's going to be done to be satisfactory to the transaction. For example, let's say that you have a slow drain. Well, very often a buyer is going to ask that that be corrected by a licensed plumber. Well, just to get a plumber through the door is going to be almost $200. So as a seller, you could probably jump on Amazon and get one of those snakes and snake the drain for less than $10, if in fact it's a drain clog. So if you're following what I'm saying about pre-inspection, you can definitely control who does the work, and then you can market your home as a pre-inspected home, thus significantly reducing anything condition related from derailing your sale. In addition to that, you want to make sure that you have your facts in order. Make sure that you understand what your loan payoffs are. If you have a mortgage on your property and it's higher than the amount of money that your closing cost and your transaction are going to run, you definitely want to know that in advance. There is nothing worse than getting a phone call a few days before closing that you have to bring $5,000 to closing because your numbers were off. So be sure as a seller that you understand your figures and you understand the cost to sell, so there are no surprises. So I hope that you enjoyed these tips about things that can help you as a buyer or a seller to not derail your sale. I am Jeanette Womble, a local realtor here in Columbia, South Carolina. If you have any other questions or you want to run through some things to make sure that you cross that finish line, my information will be at the end of the video. Also, like and subscribe to my channel as I'm producing tips and information about our area every week. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you're having a great day.